Going on, everyone? Welcome. It says we're live as we get settled in. What's going on? How we doing? Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. I hope everyone, all of you, you and you and you and you and you and you, hope everybody's doing great. Let's see here. I need to chat. I can't communicate with you if I don't have the chat available. Funny how that works. Let's get that brought into place here. And let's make sure we're on live chat. Now I got to set that every time. Let's see. Bam. There we go. All right. Let's see. Sam's here. Sam says, hello, everyone. Good morning. Robert's here. Robert says, howdy, people. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe and healthy. I'm going to move this over because it's a little too far away from the chat. I feel like I have to look at the other side of the room. Robert's, hey, Sam. Robin's here. Robin says, hi, all. From Waltham Abbey, Essex, England. Right on. Oh, wait, what happened? It scrolled. Cold and sunny here. Right on. Right on. It's kind of the same here. Sort of not super cold, but cool. But the sun's shining, so that's a good thing. Right on. England representing. Let's see. Sam says, only yesterday I gained an extra year to my age. Had chicken tikka masala with family for the event. Right on, Sam. Happy birthday. Why does this camera look crooked? I gotta move that a little bit. So you're gonna see me rotate a little. Is that better? Yeah, that looks a little better. So right on, happy birthday. That's awesome. Glad you were able to celebrate with some tasty food. That sounds really good. Robert, there's Jeff. Sam says set all messages. Well, I don't have an all messages. I have to go to the live chat. There's a little drop down at the top, and I can either select top chat or live chat or something else. So I think we're good. We got it set to live chat, so I shouldn't miss anything like last time. And my apologies if I've missed stuff in the past because I didn't know I had to change the settings on that. You know, you would think, right? You would think as long as we've been doing these that I would know what I'm doing. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you and say, nope, I don't know. I don't know everything about this stuff, so bear with me. Anyway, let's see. Neptunes! What's up, brother? Neptunes, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We are doing great. How about yourself? Hope you're doing well too. Cheers. Dastardly Dave, sup all? Dave, what's going on? How are you doing this morning? Right on. Sam says hello, Neptunes. Sam, thank you, Jeff. You are most welcome, Sam. Harry Dude! There's Harry Dude. What's up? Harry Dude says, how are we all? Harry Dude! We are doing awesome. We're doing great. It's a cooler day today, but the sun is out. Kind of nice. I've actually had to turn on the heat in here the last couple of mornings just to take the chill off. Neptune says, happy birthday, Sam. Sam, thank you, Neptune. Right on. Very cool. So what's everybody up to? Sam's up to partying it up for the birthday. Right on. What are you guys working on? You guys got any projects? Any things you got going on in the works? What's on the workbench? What's on the kitchen table? Whatever your workspace is. What is it? What are you working on? What kind of projects you have going on? Repairs? Projects? I don't know, but I want to hear. Leave them there in the comments. Jade Guitars, what's up? Jade Guitars says, good morning. I'm packing and listening. Right on. Are you packing like moving houses? Packing, I don't know. Right on. I'm glad you're here. Packing is one of those things that, I don't know. It seems like you either don't mind it or it's like your least favorite thing in the world. I'm glad you're here, hanging out. Neptune says, doing pretty good. Right on. Right on. Neptune says, hey, Harry Dude. Robert says 68 degrees here, 84% humidity. Yeah, we were like 40 something degrees this morning, same as yesterday. What does this say right now? It says we're 53. That's probably about accurate. There's definitely a chill, but I kind of like it, but kind of don't at the same time. Sam says, don't forget to smash the like button, everyone. It's totally free and most appreciated. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not, for some crazy reason, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Jay Guitar says, moving to Western Nebraska. Oh, nice. Right on. So it's a move. It's a complete move. Right on. It sounds like a lot of work, but exciting nonetheless. That's cool. You're gonna be like my northern neighbor. You're gonna be like right up the road from me, in a sense, sort of. Right on. That's cool. Well, good luck. I wish you the best in the move. It's exciting. It's always exciting. Hair Dude says, Neptune, hey mate, hope you're doing well. Right on. Robert, looking forward for the cool down myself. Yeah, my thoughts on the whole thing, like I welcome it because I just like the changing of the seasons. I like that for some reason. What I don't like is what comes after this season, and that's winter. Now I don't mind winter itself. I actually like it. I enjoy the snow. I enjoy, just different winter activities. But what I don't like is here where I live, winter lasts so long. It seems like September and October are typically fall, but then November it gets cold, and it seems like it stays cold until May, really. Like I'll be wearing the beanie once I start all the way through May. And that's the thing that I don't like. That kind of gets me down a little bit once in a while, just because it lasts so long. But yeah, otherwise, I enjoy the changing of the seasons. I really do. On the Roads is here. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia. Right on the road. Hey, dude, you guys neighbors? Right on the roads. What is going on? What kind of projects do you have in the works right now? Right on. Time Surfing Aliens here. Says, good morning, Jeff. Good to see all in the chat. Right on. What is going on? Man, everybody's turning out today. This is great. That's awesome. Hair Dude says, on the roads, greetings, fellow Melbourneian. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys are like next door neighbors or something. That'd be wild, wouldn't it? Neptune says, I only like spring and fall. Not too hot, not too cold. Texas heat is crazy. I can see that, Neptune. Yeah, totally. I could, you got the extreme. What about winter, though? Winter, you don't get the snow, really. You don't get the cold. I could see spring, fall, and winter. Maybe not. But... Well, let's jump into what the heck I'm working on. You can probably see in the background what's on the bench. Oh, don't do that. A few more plaques. I've had to put the cigar box guitar sort of on the back burner for a few days. I worked on that for another day or two after we hung out last Wednesday. I got the video all edited for up to this, well, almost to this point, and that'll be coming out this weekend, kind of part one. This is going to be an extended several episodes. And then I started working on part two a little bit, kind of in Friday and a little bit over the weekend. But then I had a few more of these come in. I've got two of the smaller ones, and then I've got one of the big triangle plaques come in. These are the last three because they get delivered next week, towards the end of the week or midweek or so. So these last three, they asked if I could get them done. So that's what we're doing. I'm knocking these out. Not too bad. I did have to go Monday morning. I had to run into town to our one of the hardwood dealers and get some more black walnut. So Monday was spent breaking that down, getting these glued up. Yesterday, I was able to get these flattened. I was able to get them cut out. We've got the keyhole slot cut on the back. I got them roughly sanded and then laser engraved. Now I'm going through finishing up some final hand sanding, and I hope, well, actually, it's not hope, it's I have to. shortly after we're done here, I'm going to finish the sanding and get this stain put on there. I want to answer a question. I know I've answered it before, but I get asked quite a bit, actually. You're already using black walnut. Why are you putting walnut stain on the black walnut? Now, I want to show you. This one is a great example. See, let's look back here. If you look at this, right, it is the classic black walnut as far as I'm concerned. But you've got some of the darker stuff, a little bit more sappy type wood, even though it's not sapwood. Sapwood for walnut is really light. You've got some more dark and then super dark. So you've got this variation. Now, I like that variation. But when you put a finish over that, it basically keeps a lot of that variation, and you can really see that. Especially on the lighter things, it stands out more. Why is the camera? Oh, I just turned it on somehow. The stain is a gel stain, and it gets applied, and all it does is sort of evens out some of that variation. My goal was to match the existing, when I got this job, I was to match what they had already gotten in the past. And without the stain, I tested it both ways. Without the stain, it looks great. It looks fine. But the variation is a little bit distracting. So I apply the stain to even it out. You can still tell light from dark, but the stain helps even out some of that variation. It's just to kind of make everything look uniform so that everyone that I deliver looks basically the same. You can see the different strips of wood, you can see the different light and dark, but it's not as pronounced. And every single one has that same overall tone to it. So that's why, in case anybody else is wondering, it just makes it more uniform so that every single one that I deliver is basically the same-ish. So yeah, so we're working on these. We got a little bit of hand sanding, probably less than an hour of final sanding, and then we'll be applying the stain. That typically, sometimes I could put the finish on tonight, but I think that's going to sit overnight. I try to let it, when I have time, try to let it sit overnight, and then I'll start spraying the clear on it tomorrow morning. Should be able to get that all done tomorrow so that by Friday morning, I can install the centerpiece and voila, these are done. So that way we've got a few days to kind of sit and off gas a little bit so that it's not like fresh lacquer when I'm delivering it to the customer. Because last year, if you remember following along with this project, last year they were presenting the awards and I was surprised that this stuff was dry. I mean, we were really under the gun last year. So I'm trying to give these several days or to weeks really for some of these to dry off. So tomorrow I should have these done, and we'll be back on the cigar box guitar. I was able to get the notch cut in the neck. That was the last step that I left off with before I got these final plaque orders. I got the notch cut so that the box can actually close. The next steps will be to really work on getting this mounted in the box. I'm going to do a sort of a small stacked heel, so that there's another piece that's going to get glued on here once I am able to measure, how thick it's going to be, and that sort of thing. Because I think it would probably be okay. There's enough material here, but I'd like to do a stacked heel to give a little bit of strength in this area. That way it can't bow just in case under tension. So we'll be back to this by the end of the week for sure. So knocking out these plaques, and then we're going to be done with them. I do have another project to do for the same people, but that's really more for next year. And it just involves some 3D printing. So really kind of cool. Just an additional piece added on. So definitely while I wanted to keep working on the cigar box guitar, I really wanted to have the neck mounted, at least secured to the box, and all that for our live stream today. But these are more important. These have a hard deadline, and it is literally not this weekend. Next weekend is when these get delivered, or when they get presented to the recipients. So these got to be done. And thankfully, it's only 3 right now, so we got the majority out of the way. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back to the chat, and we're going to get caught back up. So don't feel like I'm skipping over you, because that is not the case. I just wanted to explain what was going on here. Let's see. On the Road says I'm building a red special and Telecaster thin line. Awesome. Ooh, that sounds cool. A red special. Is that the Brian May red special? Is that what I'm thinking of? And the Tele thin line. Nice. I need to build another T style guitar, actually. That's something I wanna get back to. Sort of the tonic. The Haley Guitars tonic. But I want to redesign mine. I know I said I was going to get caught up on comments, but I'm getting a little sidetracked. I want to redesign the tonic. So when I first started building the tonic, I wanted it different than a normal Telecaster. So in order to achieve that, I kind of reshaped the body and made it a little bit of an offset. But the more I look at it, the more I'm not as big of a fan. Like, I look at a regular Telecaster, and I just like that, it's got that flat bottom. And mine has a little bit of an offset curve to it, which is different, but I want to change it up a little bit. So that's, when I build another tonic, I'm probably going to redesign the whole thing slightly. It's still going to be absolutely a T style, but I probably will change some things up. Let's see here. Sam says, perhaps make custom insulated covers for all your workshop machinery. Protect circuitry from cold, hot and temperature fluctuations. Some electrical equipment don't like hot and cold. I think that I know what you mean for certain machines, and I think that could be helpful. Everything here has already lived through multiple cold winters, and I think they're fine. I don't have anything super sensitive out here. Really, I mean, a table saw, drill press, normal shop tools. I don't think they're really sensitive. I don't have like any sort of high-end kind of test equipment or anything like that. If that were the case, I would probably keep that inside. That would be a fun project, though. I just don't know. I don't know if I would really need that, but I like the idea. I definitely like the idea. Insulated. Maybe I should build an insulated cover for myself because it's fixing to get cold here in a couple of months. Desiree Dave says, finishing pink telly. Got to sand bodies, going off to a friend with a laser, and got to start guitar with epoxy version 2. Nice. That's cool. I've been thinking about doing some different stuff with the laser for like the top. I think that would be pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff you could do. It's endless, the things that you can do with the laser. I just put my laser away this morning because I finished these laser and these things. So I just put it away so that I had some clear space here. And the flies are getting real bad. Let's see. Robert says, on the cigar box guitars, which strings do you use, since they're normally 3 or 4 strings instead of the 6 on a standard size guitar? That's a good question. It depends on how you want to tune it. So I think, let me see here. I just now, for this build, ordered nope, that's still 6 strings. I just ordered strings. I've never tried these before. That's 6. Huh, I thought that was a 3-string set. Thought it was a 3-string set. So it depends on the tuning. And actually it's kind of handy because on the back of these strings, it gives you some suggestions for strings to use depending on what tuning you want. So if you wanted a open G kind of tuning, it says use the A, D, and G. So you'd use the second, third, the fifth, the fourth, and the third string. If you want to tune it to low, like an open E, this says low open E, which is what I've done before. You use the E, A, D. So you use the three low ones. If you go to like an open G or even an A, open A, I guess that is, you can use the second to lowest and then the next three. I've used several different ones before, depending on what you want to do. Like I've got one that is tuned more to E, and then I also have one that's tuned to open G, and that one uses lighter strings. So it really depends, but you're either using the low three or the next to lowest three, if that makes sense. And that is kind of handy that it tells you some of the other ones. So let's see. Open E, this one says, oh, baritone 3-string. Ooh, I never thought about that. Use EAD, but you tune it to open C. For the 27-inch scale works best, it says. Ooh, I've never tried that. I should have done a baritone. Well, guess I'm going to have to build another one. But yeah, those are just some suggestions that are on this set of strings. Time Servant says, Jeff, I guess your razor dulled before it got to your face. Well, I was thinking about that. I'm like, I need a little trim. It's just I wish it would just stay, right? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I know. I gotta do that tonight. Get a haircut. Robin says, are there usually ads in the live stream? Yes, Robin, there are. There's ads everywhere. I don't know. It seems like you can't do anything now without ads. So I don't know. I apologize. Sam says, careful with that stain. You don't want to stain yourself. I know. I wear the gloves for this stuff. It's literally like chocolate pudding. Harry Dude says, that answers a question I've always had. Is walnut stain meant for walnut or meant to make other wood look like walnut? Honestly, Harry Dude, I think it's meant to make other wood look like walnut. Yeah. I just put it on walnut because it gives the color, it gives literally exactly the color that I want these to be. It goes back to where I was mentioning matching their existing ones before I took this over. It's perfect. In fact, the color, in my opinion, is just a teeny bit better. You still, I don't know, there's something different about the other one. The other ones were very nice. There's nothing wrong with the ones that I'm replacing. But there's something a little bit more vibrant, maybe, about the color compared to the original ones. But yeah, I think, to your point, that the walnut stain is literally meant to make other wood look like walnut. In fact, maybe what I'll do, just for fun, hang on, is we'll do a test. I've got this one. This is literally just some scraps. You know, they're not even great, but it's some scraps that I glued up so that I could basically make a complete finished unit. You can see that I've tested some different things here without using walnut, the actual wood. This is some scraps of elm. Like there's cracks and chips, and I even glued in a couple strips of maple just because they're just scraps. I think what I'll do when I'm applying the stain to these today, I will apply it to this. I'll sand the top a little bit. And we'll just look. Maybe next week we'll look, and we can see how much of a difference it makes. Not that I'm gonna switch to using elm, but just for a comparison, Harry Dude, I'll do that test. So I'm gonna leave this up here on the bench, and I'm gonna sand this, and we'll apply the stain at least maybe the top. Yeah, I'll do the top and the edges, and leave the back unstained. It's going to get fingerprints on there because it just does. But we'll just compare that. But again, like I said, I do it to make it even, and it's the color just looks so good. Robert says, Robert, unfortunately, there are ads in the live chat. In the live chat? Like, that pops up in the middle of the chat or on just the live stream? Sam says you need electric fly zapper. The illuminated versions work better at night when it's dark and regular lighting is off. Yes, agreed. Only leaving the zapper lights as the only lighting that's on. Yes, absolutely true. Yeah, it seems like, this time of year, the flies get really bad. Just the weather's changing and the flies are trying to get in and out of the cold. I don't know. I don't like them, though. But it's not as bad as years past, though. They're still annoying, but still. Birdie Erdy, what's up? Birdie Erdy says, good morning, Jeff. Have you tried your hand at winding your own pickups? Or is that something you won't fool with? Honestly, the short answer, after I swat that fly, the short answer is no. I have not tried it. But I think it would be awesome. And I wouldn't mind doing it. The thing that has kept me from doing it, and I had a conversation about this exact topic with a buddy of mine recently about winding pickups. There's some cool winders on the market, some really, really good quality units. You can get like sort of CNC type controlled units. There's just really good equipment out there. And I think it would be awesome. I would love to be able to make my own pickups. But there's always a but. The reason I haven't is because mainly it's like a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? It would be very satisfying to be able to not only build the instrument, but also use your own homemade pickups, everything, hand wound. I mean, like you hand cut out the guitar. Your own homemade pickups. But it's almost a whole nother, I don't know what the word is, like a whole nother division, a whole nother hobby, a whole nother thing. You've got to get geared up. You got to be able to get the flat work or make the flat work, get the magnets and the wire and get all the different things. And you're gearing up for like a whole nother thing. Now, that's not a problem necessarily if that's exactly what you want to do. Where I struggle, and this is just me, this is just my opinion, where I struggle is with the fact that I can just go online and buy a Seymour Duncan, a set of Duncans, or a set of bare knuckles, which I really like. And people know those names, right? It's really hard to beat that brand recognition as a small builder. It's already hard enough trying to build guitars with your name on it. But, I don't know. To me, it's just easier to buy. And this is not normally, this is hard for me. That's what I'm trying to say. It's hard for me to say that because I am 100% all about build it yourself, do it yourself. You can build the thing that you want to build. And I 100% believe that. If I wanted to do that, I would get a winder and I would start building my own pickups. I can only put so many irons in the fire is probably a more important thing to say, I guess. Do I want to build my own pickups? Yes. Yes, I do. Will I? I'm on the fence. I really am. I don't know. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on that. I think it would be super awesome to have, absolute complete control over what you do. But, can I build one for the price of what I can order online? I don't know. That's what I struggle with. I really do. So let me know. You guys let me know your thoughts on that. Donna's here. Donna says, good morning. Coffee up. What's up, Donna? Good morning. Cheers. Super good. Terry says, hello, Jeff. And oh, Terry, what's going on? Good morning. Hope you're doing great. I just threw the fly swatter on the floor. Neptune says, good morning, Donna. And hi, Terry. Right on. Sam says you could acquire Nightbot. It's great for posting program messages at chosen intervals. Interesting. I'll have to look into it. Eco Wood, what's up? Says, hey, hey, hey. Robert says, I bet it does make your test piece look great. Live stream, my bad. Oh yeah, I got you. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we'll stain that one. It'll probably look very similar, but probably not exact. That's my prediction. I think it'll look perfectly fine. Is it going to look exactly like these walnut ones? I'll bet you can tell. Dominic, do you have a gas mask? A gas mask? No, I don't think I have a gas mask. I've got a respirator for painting. Robert says, I've watched some pickup winding. I think one I've seen was using a homemade winder. Had a counter to keep track of number of winds. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common feature because, that way you can have somewhat some consistency to the winds. Sam, don't forget to smash the like button. Yeah, again, right on. Yes, hit that like button. Or as Sam said, smash it. Right on. Thank you, Sam. Let's see. Robert says, the difficult part was winding the pickup without breaking the wire. Yes, because it's such a tiny wire. Tiny wire. Time Servant says, build your own pickup winder. Yes, you absolutely could. I think I even have plans. So I don't know. I just haven't fully decided if I want to go on and try to make my own pickups to pick up the fly swatter because there's fly. I'm not sure. One less. There's still a few. It seems like I smash one and 10 more come in. Yeah, I just haven't decided if that's something that I want to do. It's like I say, it's an investment in time and materials. And I'm not saying it's a bad investment. I just haven't decided if that's one I want to commit to. Dominic, do you have a dog? No, I do not have a dog. Eco Wood. Peace. Dominic, can you put your No, I'm not going to put the respirator on. You won't be able to hear me. Sam says you missed a message up. It was about doing outdoor streams. How did I miss that? Oh, there it is. It says in the summer times when it's much warmer, would you consider doing external streaming? Yes, such as on a picnic bench. Absolutely. Yeah, I've thought about that a few times. The main reason I don't is because at least in here, I sort of have a little bit of control over the audio quality, sort of. I mean, it's still a road. You still hear traffic. We experienced some of the challenges with audio in the past, right? And we've had less than desirable results. Hang on. Problem solved. Yes, we have played with audio before, and it didn't work well. In order to do outside streams, I would want to have a lapel mic on, which would take some work to get everything synced up, which we could do. I know we can get it done, but it's just a matter of taking the time to do that. Time Servant says, seen a few pickup winders made from old sewing machines. I have too, yeah. I've seen all different ways. Some using like even drills, like power drills. Mounted in a stand kind of thing. Yeah, I've seen all different ways to do it. Harry Dude says, would you make the money back making your own pickups to sell versus installing a pre-made one? Honestly, I don't think so. I really don't. I may be wrong on that, but I hate to say, again, this is hard because I truly believe that the make it yourself way is always better. But from a purely financial standpoint, I don't know. I really don't. And I say that with all honesty because I have bought pickups from the smaller builders, right? And they they cost more, right? They all worked fine. I've never had one that, didn't work or sounded absolutely terrible. None of that. But from a purely cost perspective, they cost more. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but but I don't know, Harry, dude. That's a great. I mean, that's a great question. Would you make the money back making your own pickups? I don't. I think eventually you could, but when I don't want to. I want to be careful, and I'm not trying to throw anything or anyone under the bus. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know. What do you think, Harry, dude? What's your thought? Do you think you would? Would you make that money back if, let's say, you bought a nice winder, at several $100s, or $1,200 for a nice CNC kind of controlled one that'll do whatever you want it to do? What do you think, really, compared to just going on and ordering a set? Eco Wood, how's the box guitar going? Well, I'll show you. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I don't think you were on yet. So it's kind of been shelved for a few days because I have some more of these plaques that I'm working on. I need to turn this a little bit. So the box has gotten put on the shelf a little bit until I get these done. I've got everything up till here done. It fits the box. I've got the height that I need. Where'd it go? You can't see. Right here. When the bridge is installed, I'm where I want to be here. Next, what I need to do is I need to notch this part of the box because I'm going to double up from about here down. I'm going to glue on another piece of wood. That way I can have sort of a heel. And I'll be able to do a heel cap that'll be flush with the back. That's the plan. I'm just working out the details right now of how that's really gonna work. But yeah, next up to finish notching the box, because right now it won't close fully. It fully fits the top exactly how I want it. I need to notch this so that the box can close. Then I'll figure out exactly how thick this piece needs to be to put this heel on here. But it's coming along good. Like I said, I haven't worked on it in 3 or 4 days because I have these plaques here that I have to get done. These have a deadline, and it is next week. So I've got to get these done, and then I'll be back on the cigar box build. I've gotten parts in, except I screwed up. I had to order more parts. If we look at the box, I don't know why I didn't think about this before. If I look at the box, red and gold, right? Clearly red and gold. So to me, that says gold hardware. Did I order gold hardware? Nope. I ordered chrome hardware. And I don't want gold hardware, or I don't want chrome hardware with gold. I think that would just be weird. So I had to go back and order gold hardware. So that should be here in a couple of days. But yeah, it's coming along good though. I'll be back on that. These plaques will be sprayed tomorrow, and I'll be back on the cigar box guitar. Time Servant says, I'm just glad right-handed Jeff hasn't been around in a while. I know, right? You know what we could do though? I think I can. No, I'm not even going to do that. I was going to say I could mirror that real quick, and I could give you right-handed Jeff real fast. I'll probably hit something and like hang up on you all. Is that a thing? Can you hang up on somebody in a live stream? Let's see. Henry's here. Henry says, I made the pickup winder from Highline Guitars, version 1. Nice. It worked very well, but I had some issues with keeping the bobbin on it. I got the Mojo Tone, which fixes that, but was expensive. Yes, the Mojo Tone one. There's even another one, and I can't remember what it's called now. That's one that my friend and I were talking about. That's probably the one I would get. It's a CNC controlled one. I can't remember the name. It's expensive, but if I was gonna go in on that, I would go all in, and that's what we would do. But Henry, how you been? Right on. Glad you can make it. Sam says maybe make the world's largest functioning guitar. I wonder what that would be. Seems though I've seen that. Isn't it a Martin? Doesn't Martin have a big giant one of some sort? Eco Woods, nice. Time Surfing says Bald Shredder swears by the Music Lily pickups under $30. Right on. I've heard good stuff about them. Yeah. Stringsattached.ca. Right on. Says I bought a Smokin' Notes pickup when I was at the Southwest CBG Festival. It's beautiful and they sound great. Southwest, at least I'm assuming that means Southwest. If not, please feel free to correct me. Well, that's awesome. I'll show you the pickup that I have. I'm excited to try this. It's not something I've ever used before. It's a whole different deal. If I can find, there it is. No, where is it? Hello. No, what? Why? Why won't you come out of there? It's buried in the bottom of this tiny package. What come on. Oh, because it's magnetic and everything's stuck to it. Wait. Wow, it's really magnetic. The bridge is stuck to it. This one's cool. This is a surface mount humbucker. This is from, I ordered these supplies from CB Giddy. Not sponsored, but they do have a lot of cool stuff for cigar box guitars. Look at this little guy. Flat, right? So what you do, you have a, I should have pulled that out of there. There's a pickup ring and a cover that this lays on the top. I don't know how do you keep it from rattling around. I'll have to do a little more investigating. Maybe a little hot glue. Gets installed right on the top, and then there's this, which I'm getting another one. This is a stainless steel, but I have a brass cover coming for it. So I'm holding this right out of the way where you guys can't even see anything. So all that you end up with, see how that fits right in there? Screw that down, and it sticks up. I don't know what that is. 5/16 of an inch, quarter inch off the top. How cool. Worst case is I got to notch the top, but I don't think I'm going to have to do that. The reason I wanted to try this was because I don't like to have to recess this super deep, right? In order to fit a like a normal humbucker style, which I've used on several builds, you have to notch away so much material here. It makes a weak point. So what I ended up doing in order to combat that weak point is gluing on some wings on here to make this wider. Then I can make the pickup cutout and I still have more material out here. But I didn't want to do that this time. I'm trying to keep the internal space open inside this box because it's shallower. So I'm trying to use as least amount of airspace as possible. Because I do want to put sound holes in this, and I'm hoping to get some sort of acoustic sound out of it. So I didn't want to fill it up by adding a bunch of big wings. So I thought it might be kind of cool to use this surface mount humbucker. I'll know a little bit more once we get into it, but it's kind of, I like the idea. It's kind of cool. And it's neat looking. Look at that. Pretty cool. A flat humbucker. Time Surfing says, got to go do some grocery shopping for the wife. Y'all have a great week. Time Surfing, right on. You have a great week. Have fun grocery shopping. I got to hit the store here too one of these days, the next day or two. Grab a couple of things. Here it says, I was thinking purely from a time spent making the pickup versus ordering a set from someone else. Sadly, big name pickups are more of a selling point on any guitar. Customer recognized brand names. Yeah, Harry, dude, that's how I feel, right? And I feel like, in a way, if customers see your list of components, and their brand name tuner, the brand name pickups that they're familiar with, to me that's more of a selling point. But I might be looking at that wrong, and feel free to challenge me on that if anyone disagrees. But that's what I feel like. Customers recognize brand names. Yeah. Neptune says, Time Surfing, thanks for stopping by. Time Surfing, be safe, says Sam. Sam Packin, what's up, Rick? Says, oh man, late again. No worries. What's going on? How you doing? Robert says, we're just looking at some cigar boxes on eBay. Some of them looked real nice. Unfortunately, I tried ordering some over a year ago and got ripped off. Never got the boxes. Oh man, Robert, I'm sorry that happened. That's a drag. I have not had bad luck, let's say, just going to like a local cigar store, and just asking them, talking to them. And, a lot of times they have them. Maybe some places I've had them just give you the boxes. In other places they've charged $2 or $3. But, if it's a cool box, I don't mind paying a couple dollars. But I think most of the time you can get them for free or almost free. Rick's here. Rick says, hey, Jeff, how the heck you doing? Hope all is well. Right on, Rick. We're doing good. Hope you're doing good, too. Right on. Glad you can make it. It's awesome. Strings Attached says, yeah, it's Southwest. I drove right past your town, but didn't realize it until I got back to Canada. Well, darn it. Darn it. I'm waving now. What do they call it? Preemptively? After the fact? I don't know. After the fact. Darn. Yeah, that's cool. Hope you enjoyed it. Where was the thing, the event? And Neptune says, hey, Sam Packin, welcome. Better late than never. Strings Attached says, those flat pickups sound great. That's what I put in the PlayStation guitar. Nice. That's good to know. Oh, yeah, I think you told me that. You put it in the PlayStation guitar. Yeah. Rick says, cool. Hello to the chat. Right on. Oh, and Rick also says, I've used those pickups before from another supplier. They sounded nice. I was pleasantly surprised. Nice. You guys are making me feel good about this. I was interested in it, but it's also glad to hear reports that they sound really good. So that's cool. That's cool. Sam says, if you use metric, you'll be able to work out the measurements of smaller items. Metric rules. Sam, I'm not arguing. I don't argue the fact that metric is useful. I've gotten into this debate more than once, and no, we're not opening the debate. But yeah, it is. It's harder, or it's easier to measure small things in metric. The thing that I don't like is when you see measurements in like 12.2 millimeters. Up until now, I have never been able to measure 12.2 millimeters. Oh, actually, I don't know if I still can now that I think about it. I got some new measuring tools from the folks over at Fowler, which I have used Fowler measuring stuff for years. No, that's not it. Years and years and years. This one. But I've never had a metric set of calipers till now. This one, I can measure the point whatevers of a millimeter, which is pretty cool because I've never been able to do that before. This one has both inch and metric. I wanted one that was all metric, but this one has them both, which is no big deal. So if I want to measure, where are we at here? So 0, there's 1. So I can do 1.1, 1.2. With these calipers, I can measure, let's see, why can't I never get this right? Because everything's backwards. You can measure millimeter and to the point, which for me, this is going to be so helpful for a lot of things. The main thing that comes to mind is building an acoustic guitar. A lot of the plans are in millimeters, and it'll literally say 7.5. So I have to do the conversion. I have to do the decimal conversion of 7.5 millimeters to decimal. From there, I can use regular calipers and measure that. But now, I'm holding this where you can't see it. But now, I can just measure in millimeters, which is awesome. Yeah. So, I do agree, Sam, that metric, if you're measuring in straight millimeters, I definitely feel I can measure more accurately. But I'm also so used to imperial that I'm not going to be switching my brain fully to metric. Do I have a problem with metric? Absolutely not. I recognize that it's a great method in a lot of ways. I'm not arguing either way. But now I do feel a lot better having this set of calipers and being able to measure in millimeters is super, super handy. Let's see. Strings Attached says the skinny boxes are tricky to get the neck thickness just right. Yes, that is the challenge with this one. This box is it's a lot thinner than what I normally use. Not by a ton, but by enough that it's something that's definitely on my mind, and I'm trying to build accordingly. And that's the thing that I enjoy about building cigar box guitars. The boxes are all different, right? In some way or another. The thickness, the width, the height, the length, the material, the lid construction, everything's different, and they all have a little bit of a different challenge. And it's kind of cool. I like that. Kizzy's here. Kizzy says, I've been here listening, trying to get motivated to work on the house. I'm a woodworker, not a carpenter. There's a huge difference. One being that I loathe carpentry work. You know, Kizzy, you're right. There's a big difference. You know, framing a house to me as a carpenter, building, you know, doing this, gluing up plaque blanks, building guitars, doing whatever, that's a woodworker. They're not the same. And a lot of people, I think, feel that they're the same. But yeah. So I'm with you, but the work's got to get done. That's the downside, right? I have to do this to myself too. I got to go sand so many plaques. I don't want to do that. It ain't going to get done unless I do it. So you just put on some tunes, grab a cup of coffee, and get after it. You can do it. You just get her done. Neptune says, the darn cat sat on my keyboard and minimized my screen. Sam says, what would 9mm be in inches? Or just stick with millimeters? 9mm in inches? I've got a handy conversion chart right here. 9mm is 0.354331 inches. There you go. Or I could do it here. 9mm. 3. I can't see it. Let's see. Strings Attached says it was in New Mexico, San Isidore. Oh, nice. Yeah, you were like you was right down through. Dang, that'd have been cool. I'd have tried to make that. That would have been kind of neat. Rick says that is so confusing. Imperial versus metric. Yeah, it can be. It can be. But I've tried to make my brain open to both. Strings Attached says, are your digital calipers not both metric and imperial? Yes. to answer the short answer is yes, they are. The long answer is I can't stand digital calipers because the battery is always dead. They are useless to me. I have one pair of digital calipers and I thought it was cool. I'm like, oh, finally, I've got the digital ones. It's dead every time. And it's so annoying. So I will never own another pair of digital calipers again for that reason. I have a couple digital measuring devices. Even some super cool ones. That's the challenge, to keep batteries in it. But calipers, I use calipers, man, almost daily for different things. And for calipers, I will never own another digital set. I just won't. It's got to be dial calipers. I'm not a fan of the vernier calipers, but these dial calipers I've used. I've had dial calipers for years and years, and I really like these Fowler brand. This set right here is one that I got. I've had this thing for probably 20 21, 22 years. This set, calipers, they have been through the ringer. I've dropped them on the floor. They've been, just been used and abused, one might say. But they still work. The last time I dropped it was a few months ago, and somehow the dial spun like 180 degrees. So the zero used to be up top, like on this set. But now the zero's down here and everything's reversed. and I can't figure out how to fix that. But it still works. It's still accurate. But these are new. And they're awesome. My brand of choice is Fowler, like I said, because I've used them for years and years and years. They're super good quality, and they just work awesome. But yeah, the digital ones, they work great, right? It's really nice, and like as Rick says here, that I've seen a set of calipers you can take measurement and see it in metric, standard, or in fractions. Yes, mine is the same way. My digital ones do that. But I went to use them the other day. I've been keeping those inside the house. I went to use them the other day. The battery's dead. It's totally useless. So those are going to get packed away, and I'm pretty much done with those. That's just my frustration. Thanks for letting me vent a little bit on the digital calipers. Are they super convenient? Absolutely. But when the battery's always dead, that is annoying. Rick says, millimeter or metric? Which is it? It's millimeter is metric. Metric is the whole standard, the whole, millimeter, centimeter, whatever meters, kilometers. That's all metric. But millimeter is part of the metric, like the inch. If we talk about standard or imperial, the inch, foot, yard, mile, all that is in imperial measurements. And millimeter is part of the metric measurement system. Hope that makes sense. On the road says, welcome to my world, Jeff. Yeah, measuring things. Yeah. Neptune says, nice caliper. Yeah, this one's super cool. Senpakin says, just a touch of a button to switch the measurement to either of those. Yeah, I agree, Rick. Like I said, my digital ones do that. Bam, bam, bam. You want to see the inch? You want to see the fraction? You want to see the metric? Yeah, it's super easy. It's always dead. I've put, I don't know how many batteries in the digital one. And it's not that I use it so much that the battery dies. It is literally, even when it's off, it's not off. I don't know how, but the battery just dies. I've got a really nice snap gauge. Oh, This one, I left the battery cover off, and there's a spare battery in here. I put the spare battery in here because I know that the battery is going to be dead when I go to use it. And this is a super nice snap gauge, but you know what? I never use this. Never. And yeah, just because for that reason, because it's always dead. If I need to use a snap gauge, this is the one I use. There's no battery. It's a dial indicator. This is the one that I use. I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with battery operated measuring devices. Ow. Oh, great. So now let's see. Kizzy says, Sam, if it starts in metric, stay in metric. Converting to imperial is a pain and sometimes can give you decimals with repeating. So the best you can do is get a close fraction, not exact. Yes, that's the challenge. Henry says, I think you're right about the selling point with brand names as your guitars are what you focus on. Pickups would make more sense if you plan to sell more volume separately, like Phil McKnight. Yes, I 100% agree. If that's what I wanted to do, that's what I would do. And I would sell Haley Guitars pickups. But I'm trying to sell the guitars. Yeah, I agree. You're right on with that. Strings Attached says the digital calipers at Harbor Freight are both. Yeah, and I think, honestly, I've got a set of the digital calipers. I think they came from StuMac. They're like the same as every other digital caliper that you see out there, including the ones at Harbor Freight. I'm sure they probably came from the exact same factory. The button colors are the same. Everything else, I probably just paid more from it because I ordered it from StuMac. Sam says 9mm in inches was a lot longer to say. Yeah, yeah, it is. Sam Packin, my digital calipers shut off after a minute or so, but if you push the off-on button, your last measurement returns. Interesting. And then you have to zero it out every time. And then I'm always thinking, well, did I zero it out in the right spot? Like, because you always have to zero it. It's not always zeroed out. I don't know. Sam says, DeWalt are a good make for relatively good price for good power tools. I agree. And so do millions of others. Neptune says, having been a machinist, my brand choice is Mitutoyo. Also, I honestly, I have some of all of them, but that dial snap gauge, Mitutoyo. The digital snap gauge, but my brand of choice, oh wait, hold on. My oldest set of calipers, I've had these since the late 90s, honestly, Mitutoyo. But my brand of choice are hands down these Fowlers. I really like the Fowler stuff. Like I said, this set, it's not my longest owned set. That's that Mitutoyo caliper. But the Fowler stuff is great. Super good. I just like them. I always have. As soon as I got this was my first set. I'm just a fan. They've been used and abused, and they still work. But yeah, like I said, all of them. I've got all three brands in some form or another. But yeah, nothing wrong with the Mitutoyo. Rick says, "Oh, okay, thanks for that." Bam, right on. Robin says, "Love me a centimeter. What's a centimeter?" I don't know all the things. Strings Attached says, my dad was a tool maker and gave me a dial caliper 30 years ago. Mitutoyo. They don't even have an auto shutoff, and I haven't had an issue with the battery dying, but I always have spares. Interesting. Some packets that have had mine for over 2 years and never replaced the battery. Do I just have a bad one? I mean, mine's dead in no time. I mean, not even like months, a couple months, if that. Interesting. Rick says, have you tried the Sears Die Hard battery? I think the Die Hard died hard, didn't it? I don't think, are they even still around? Can you get Die Hard batteries anymore? Robert says, I have a digital set of calipers, and I've had for maybe 10 to 15 years. Still has the original battery. Okay, so I've got to have a bad set then. Because mine, literally, it will not last at all. Wow. Rick says, topic is starting to remind me of Metallica. Rock on. Sam Packin, have you considered a digital string height gauge? I'm thinking of buying one. I am thinking of making one. Actually, that's on my list. I want to make my own. You know, basically the same thing. You know, the deal that sits over the strings. It's got the dial indicator that sits over there. I want to make my own. That's the plan. But yeah, absolutely, 100% I've thought of it. There's been several times that I've almost ordered my own. So, but what I want to do is I want to design it. I want to 3D print the base out of, I don't know, something, temperature resist, warp resistant, that sort of thing, so that I don't have to worry about anything warping. I want to 3D print the base and then use my own dial indicator. So that's the plan that I have for that. There, you got a hint into the future for upcoming projects. But yeah, Rick, I definitely want one of those. I think it'd be handy. Sam says there was a metric and imperial confusion in a NASA rocket led to a massive failure. Something to do with the computers in one measurement and instrumentation in another. Interesting. Robert says, and the calipers still work. Yep. Strings attached. 3D printing is in millimeters. I'm surprised you're just getting a metric caliper now. Honestly, like I said, I've just been doing the decimal conversion, right? I do a lot of my design is in decimals. You know, I don't typically use fractions, once in a while, but 0.2473 or whatever for a measurement. That's how I've been doing it. But I'm super glad to have the metric caliper now, like I said. But yeah, I've been messing with decimals to get the measurements I need. Hey dude, digital calipers suck when you have to measure the batteries to order more. Yes. You got to measure the battery. What kind is this? I don't know. I got to measure it. Yeah, I don't like them. Robin says, actually, I see them as millimeters. Oh, I gotcha. I'm okay with it. Harry Dude says, I have one set. They suck batteries harder than a NASCAR sucks fuel. That's mine. Mine does the same. I'm not alone. So those of you that have had great luck with your digital ones, that is awesome. I wish mine were. Then I wouldn't be so unhappy with them. I don't have a problem with them whatsoever. The only problem I have is that the battery's always dead when you need it the most. So I will stick with my dial calipers. Sam says, I got double averted with the same advert with you. Really? 2? Neptune says the batteries that are lasting longer could be the CR44s versus LR44. CR has a different chemistry and last longer. What's in these? Oh no, I've moved something in this drawer and now it won't open. I wish I could move this camera back a little bit so that you could see a little more of what's going on. But what's in here? What is this one? This one is a CR 2032. I'll probably never install it in this snap gauge because I'll use it once and then it'll die. Sempackin, have to go now? Jeff, folks, celebrate your day, everyone. Hit the thumbs up button when leaving. Right on, Rick. Have an awesome day. Hope you have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. Glad you made it. Right on. Have a good one, Rick. Take care. Sam says YouTube apparently are blocking ad blockers and display an error to load video message. This is a deterrent from using ad blockers. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. But put this guy back in here. Oh, I wonder if this has like a little cutout there for battery. I'll bet they use this for more than the case for more than one set. Anyway, yeah. So I need to give a shout out. I'm gonna shameless plug for the Fowler guys for making awesome stuff. They actually sent me this one to use in full disclosure. Yeah, super cool. So I'm gonna give a shout out. You guys need the cool measuring devices. I'm not required to say anything according to them. They just wanted to support. So like for that, I'm super thankful. But yeah, they didn't say send people our way, but seriously, if you guys want to go check out some of their products, check them out. They make super good stuff. And I'm not just saying that because they sent me stuff. I've been using them for years. Anyway, let's see here. Sam says, Sempack and be safe. Hey, dude, now I'm sitting here testing batteries in this stupid digital caliper. Good, thanks. Sorry, Harry, dude. Neptune says that's why Elon needs to make X-Tube. Yeah, I don't... Is he making something of his own thing? Sam says smart rings have tiny batteries that last a few days. And yet my calipers can't last. Hairdo says they need to make digital calipers that recharge like earpods, not rocket surgery. I'll bet you they do. Somebody's got to make a USB chargeable. I might have to look. I might have to check out the Fowler website and see if they make rechargeable ones. I bet they do. They've got to. Interesting. Anyway, guys, we're well past the hour, which is totally fine. But I got to get back to work. I got to pick up this little bit of a mess here, finish sanding these things, and I got to get this stain on there because these things need to be done. And like I was telling Kizzy earlier, it's not going to finish up unless I do it. Do I want to go sand these? Nope. But we're going to get after it. We're going to pull up our britches and get to work. See what I did there? Anyway, yeah, I got to get to sanding. I don't want to. We're going to do it. We're going to get it done. Get this stain applied. So Kizzy, get after that project you don't want to do. Get it done. And I hope all of you guys get after that project you've been putting off. Don't put it off anymore. This is me officially challenging all of you to tackle that project that you just don't want, because all of us have that. We all have that project. So let's get it done. Let's challenge yourself. Seize the day. I don't know. Is it? Maybe that's not the right use of carpe diem. Anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope you all are doing great. Again, be on the lookout for episode 1 of the Cigar Box guitar build coming out this weekend. And yeah, like Sam said, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Sam says, thanks for the fantastic stream. Right on, Neptunes. Everyone have a great week. Kizzy says, good luck. Bam. Same to you. You got this. Robert says, just pulled my set of calipers to see if I could find a brand name. They're just generic brand. Says 0 to 200 millimeter digital caliper. Right on. Yeah, it's probably the same as what I have. Strings attached. See you, bros. Right on. Robert, everyone stay safe and healthy. Robin says, thanks, Jeff and everyone. Can't wait to see the Cigar Box guitar. Bam. Right on. You guys stay safe, stay well. Get on your shops, build some cool stuff. Tackle that project, like I said. Let's get it done. Harry, dude, catch you all next week. You guys, thanks for tuning in. You all have a great week. We'll see you next weekend. Next week. same time, same channel. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you. Let's get to work. Tackle the day. Have a good one, everyone. We're out of here. Later.